Good morning, readers. Well, we will give this one more try. I've been having technical issues this morning. Hopefully this video will work and looks like sound is working okay. Hopefully it won't be corrupted and we'll be able to get it uploaded for you. Today is release day for A Whisker's Breadth, the latest book in the Reg Rawlins Psychic Investigator series. I'm going to do a reading from chapter 1 for you. Okay. Reg opened the door and got her first glimpse of Vivian King, the woman who had called for a 1 o'clock appointment. Reg wasn't sure where she'd seen Reg advertise, or if she'd come by a personal recommendation from another client. Vivian hadn't revealed that on the phone. She was a black woman, a little taller than Reg, her skin a rich, warm brown, with her hair cut short. Reg's own hair, red, was in tiny box braids, just rebraided the day before by Ruan, who might just be her new regular hairdresser if he stayed in town. But Reg suspected that once his fairy mate had recovered from her injuries, she and Pixie Ruan would be on the road again, following a nomadic life since they were excluded from both of their communities. Pixies and fairies didn't mix. Ever. Except for cases like Calliope and Ruan, which no one discussed. Reg touched her braids self-consciously, worried that the woman would accuse her of cultural appropriation. But if Vivian had any thoughts on the subject, she kept them to herself. She smiled at Reg and swallowed, looking anxious. Regina Rawlins? Hi, I'm Vivian? Her tone went up at the end of the sentence, as if it were a question. Call me Reg. She didn't point out that Vivian's pronunciation of her name, with a long E and I like the Canadian city, was wrong, but settled instead on giving Vivian her nickname. Come on in. She opened the door wider and ushered Vivian in. Vivian looked around the neat little guest cottage, furnished by Sarah, the witch who owned the property, renting it to Reg at a price that was really a steal. It was light and pleasant. The scent of the ocean wafted in on the breeze through a couple of windows Reg had left cracked open. Reg motioned to the wicker furniture in the living room, and Vivian selected a chair and sat down, taking one more look around the room, as if she were worried someone else might be there watching, or ready to jump out and scare her. People who wanted Reg to read palms usually sat on the couch, so they could reach her easily. Vivian was less sure of herself, putting not only space but also the coffee table between them. She would want something other than palmistry. Reg gave her a smile that she hoped was reassuring. Nothing to be worried about. It was a safe place. Can I get you some tea? Reg asked, motioning to the kitchen, where the kettle was beginning to whistle right on cue. Yes, sure, Vivian agreed, which led to some more small talk about what kind of tea she wanted. The easy, casual chatter would hopefully help put her at ease, as would the calming tea and having something to do with her hands. By the time Reg set the tea service down on the coffee table between them, Vivian was starting to loosen up. You have a nice little place here. All of the compliments go to my landlord. It came furnished. All I had to do was unpack my bag. Do you know Sarah? A lot of Reg's referrals came from Sarah, so there was a good chance. No, I don't really know anyone here. I'm new in town. Oh, okay. Did someone refer you to me then, or did you see an advertisement? You have a poster up at the grocery store? I just saw it and thought, why not? Reg nodded. She put her posters up on every community board that she could, even the ones where it tended to get ripped down the first day or two. Someday the vandals would give up and leave it there. Great. Well, I'm glad you called. I'm always happy to take on new clients. You've just moved here recently. Are you planning to stay, or is this just along your way? I don't know. Vivian looked away. I don't know how long I'll be here. I move around a lot. I know what that's like, Reg said with a smile. She'd been on the move for a lot of years. Her stay at Black Sands had been quite long by her standards, and so far she hadn't been forced to move on. It was kind of nice to have a more permanent home, though sometimes it made her anxious and she felt like she should move on before she wore out her welcome, before anything from her past caught up with her, or someone filed a complaint against her. She adjusted the "For entertainment purposes only" sign on the coffee table to make sure that Vivian saw it. The same thing was repeated on all of her signs, business cards, or other promotional items, to prevent any fraud charges by unhappy customers. She couldn't prove that she provided actual psychic services, so it was important to be able to prove to the police that she was providing another legitimate service, entertainment. My last permanent place was in Colorado. It's under a boulder. Reg blinked, sure she'd misheard. You lived in Boulder, Colorado? No, a smaller town, but a boulder broke off the mountain and rolled down and landed on my house. Oh dear, how horrible! I gather you weren't at home when it happened. I was, Vivian nodded slowly. I was in bed. That corner of my bedroom was the only part of the house that wasn't completely destroyed. They said it was a miracle that I survived. Reg had heard about things like that happening, but she'd never met anyone who'd survived such a bizarre accident. So what was it like? You were just sleeping in bed and then I heard a rumbling and crashing noises. I thought it was the garbage truck, then a lot more crashing, and I was going to get out of bed thinking that someone was vandalizing my fence, or a truck had crashed through a barrier on the freeway. And then there was... Her eyes were distant as she thought about it. This huge explosion, like someone had thrown dynamite into the house. Wood and debris and dust flying everywhere. I couldn't see anything, and covered up my face to protect it. And then some creaking, and everything got quiet. How long did it take for you to figure out what had happened? Vivian just looked at her. There was a big boulder taking up half my bedroom. I could see what had happened, but I didn't really believe it. I just stayed there in a state of shock, I guess, until the neighbors started calling out and climbing around the boulder into the bedroom. Wow, that's amazing. So then they got you out and you were okay? And you had to make an insurance claim, I guess. I didn't have any insurance. I was just renting. You could have had renter's insurance. Then at least you'd get something for the property you lost. I can't get insurance. Oh, it wasn't any of Reg's business whether Vivian was an illegal immigrant or had some other status that would prevent her from being able to purchase insurance, so she didn't pursue that line of questioning. She took a long sip of her tea. Well, that's an incredible story. Hopefully your stay in Black Sands will be much less eventful than that. Well, as you can probably guess, her experience in Black Sands is not less eventful than that. Oh, my picture changed there. Okay, so you can head over to my website, my blog, or my landing page and get your own copy of A Whisker's Breadth, find out what happened. And as you can see, then we're still promoting Halloween reads. My Halloween blog has had a few more books added to it, and I'm going to keep adding to it throughout the month, so there should always be something fresh for you there. And I will be back next week to talk to you again. Good reading until then.